Hello everyone, welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how to draw a horse. You can use a pen or a pencil if you want to. Pencil would be better so you can erase your mistakes. You're going to start off by drawing a circle. Really, any size circle is fine depending on how big you want your horse in the frame. So for me, I like doing kind of like close-ups of the horse's head, but if you wanted to do its full body, you would just draw it smaller and then go from there. But for this tutorial, we're going to just be doing a horse's head. So we'll be able to adjust the shape if we need to, depending on how the horse looks after this, but you're going to draw a second, slightly smaller circle next to the bigger one. This is going to be the horse's nose, and this is going to be its head. So keep in mind we're going to be connecting these two, so if it looks proportionate to you, definitely stick with your shape you have, or if you need to make it bigger or smaller, go ahead and do that. And then you're just going to draw a slightly curved up line connecting this circle to the head. I know that some horses have just straight nose. You could do that if you want to, if you think that'll make it look more accurate. I just kind of like how it looks when I do it, kind of like curved up like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to connect the bottom of this circle, slightly leave some of the rounded bottom on it, and then kind of draw a curved line connecting to the jaw. So this is where I realized I made the circle a little too big, so I'm going to kind of adjust to that. So this is where I kind of adjusted the second circle to the shape that I wanted to kind of just make it look how I picture a horse's head to look like. And the nose looks proportionate now to me, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. This is the point where I like to draw the eyeball. So to start for the eye, this is kind of the tricky part. For the realistic looking eye, I pretty much just make like a triangle shape. So I start with a slightly curved line. This will determine how big your eye is, so keep that in mind. Does it look proportionate to everything else? And in my opinion, yes it does. I can always go back and fix it later. So yeah, start with this line here. And then for this part, you're going to kind of draw down, then up, then down again. Kind of like how you draw a cartoon dog mouth, just down, then slightly up, then down again for the bottom of the eye. And then for the top, you're just going to start up here, go down a little bit, come back rounded, and connect it to the bottom part of the eye. And then you have the horse's eye shape, and that's just how I think they look realistically. This is not exactly how a horse's eye looks, but kind of just like generally how that's drawn, it does make it look realistic, and I'll show you how. For the highlights in the eye, I'm just going to draw one oval and then one circle. One oval and one circle, that's how I like drawing the reflections in eyes. You might have a different way to do it, you can do that, but this is just how I do it. So I've just now gone through and colored all of it in for the solid part of the eye. I'm not making it have like a space for eye color or anything because that would look cartoonish. This is more of a realistic horse drawing, so I'm doing that. So go ahead and color in all of this if you want to. And then for this, I've just drawn some eyelashes on here. If you want just cartoon eyelashes, of course you can go up like that and do like 3 lines or whatever if you want it cartoon style. But for the realistic, I kind of just started from the top and kind of just lightly done that. So that just makes it, because horses have long eyelashes. They have very long eyelashes, so you're going to want to do that if you want it to look realistic. So now we're going to start on the ear. You're going to draw a line kind of starting about an inch from where you have the head, and then you're going to curve up kind of like you're about to draw a candle. And then for making the rest of the ear, you're just going to start at the top and then curve downwards until it kind of meets right here. You don't want too big of a space in between, otherwise the ear will be kind of like too big. So you want to like curve in after you start from the top and draw back down. And if you want to, I've gone ahead and erased the line that I had here from the head, so you can erase as you go. For the inside of the ear, there's an inside of the ear and an outside of the ear, and you're going to want to kind of like go about halfway, maybe a little over halfway, and kind of just like make the back side of the ear show as well. And then I just like to go in and add some fur inside of the ear because their ears are very fluffy, they're very cute. And now we're going to go with the nostril. So I'm going to try and video this as best as I can because I can't really do the nostril step by step, but how I like to do it instead of doing a sharp circle is just slightly coloring in like that. Just making like slightly curved lines to build up a circle instead of getting that very sharp edge that you can't really get rid of. And then I'm just gonna like go and make the outside of the nostril too. Just for that. We're gonna shade it in and everything, and it's going to look better, but that's just what we have so far. And then for the mouth, you just want to, it depends on where you want the mouth, how you want it to look. But for me, I just kind of like it more in the middle here. So you want the horse to have enough of a chin, right? You don't want to do it right on the bottom here. But instead, you're going to want the lip. Their lip goes over a lot, so it kind of like dips in. What you're going to want to do is kind of like go down and then curve upwards. Go down and then curve upwards so that it has enough chin. Now we're going to start for the neck. So this part can be tricky. You don't want the neck to be too thick and you don't want it to be too thin. So I like to start a teensy bit behind where the circle starts, or right at this point here. And then I just start drawing a light line downwards and then sticking out a bit, just a little, not too much, because we're going to be drawing the shoulder in a second. Alright, so for the shoulder part, it's not just a neck straight down, because they have very broad, like, very visible shoulder muscles. So we're going to kind of incorporate that as well. From where you ended at the neck, start a little past this neckline and then start drawing a circle downwards. Just pay attention. You don't want it to be like too round. You don't want it to be too flat. You just kind of want to make it look proportionate. How you vision a horse in your head, just make it proportionate. This is what looks good to me, but go with your gut. So you might think we move on to the back of the head next, but that is not true. We are actually going to start with the hair. So for the hair, I like to start off drawing it a little bit lighter. I start from this point of the ear, kind of like tilt up, and then kind of like tilt it down. And you can do your horse's hair any way you want. This is just the way I like to do mine. I like my horse's hair a bit long, since I like to imagine like a wild horse, right? I like imagining like what a wild horse's hair would look like. And so you kind of just draw it stroke by stroke, not too heavily. You don't want the lines to be too short so that it looks like it has like very short hair, but just do it in a way that looks natural to you. Like, how do you vision realistic natural hair? Like for a horse, like I could see that being very wild, very long. Their hair is thick. And then for the back, you don't want to start like right here or up here, because as you can see where we've drawn the hair here, it has to kind of look like it's connected to that. So I'm going to go ahead and start here with the back of the hair and just kind of go down here, because this will give you a better view of the neck shape as well. If you start up here, the neck goes in this shape, right? So that's the way and the shape that we're going to draw the hair. Now this might take a bit of practice to actually get right, but what's good about this is that with the hair, you can adjust it to the neck shape. So you can just erase it and add more based off of like what you think the horse's neck would look like. This is about as thick as I think a horse's neck would be. If you're trying to draw like an Arabian horse or something, make its neck probably like thinner. But this is just how I draw horses. This is no specific horse I'm drawing in general, but just based on the horse's face shape, the circle that you draw here is going to affect the horse's overall head shape. So make sure if you're drawing a specific type of horse like Clydesdale or something, make this bigger and make this part a little bit maybe like closer, bigger as well, so it can have an overall thicker face. And for an Arabian, make sure its snout is very, like, way thinner than this as well. This is just a general horse. I don't have any specific, like, species of this horse. So I would add a lot more detail if you want. It just depends on your drawing style. And after this point, you can pretty much do whatever, but we only have one ear on this horse. You'd be able to see another ear peeking out of here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that. So I've just gone ahead and went and make sure this ear wasn't taller or like too tall or like too short than this one. Just making sure that you can kind of like slightly see the other ear there so that it looks like it has two ears, so you can make it look even more realistic. And as for the details on the horse's face muscles, for its actual face details, we can go ahead and add one streak here, kind of like defining the horse's actual like snout shape. we can erase this and kind of just shade it a bit, instead showing where the round part of the horse's face is. We don't need to erase, I don't need to erase this part, but if your horse's hair is shorter, maybe erase some of this. Keep some of the jawline there though, to make sure it actually looks realistic enough. And then for the neck, we know that when someone's head or chin is above their neck, that there is a shadow underneath that. So when you go through and shade it, just kind of connect it from where the hair is a little bit down, like a triangle shape. And then just don't overshade this, just make it a bit of a darker shade than other areas. So for the horse in general, if you want to do shading, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But this is the way I like to make my horses look a bit more realistic. I'm just going to go ahead and lightly shade the rest of its body. And for realness sake, you can go ahead and add like a few more lines for the neck muscles, or for its shoulder. Horses have a lot of veins in their shoulders since they're muscly. So just for me, to make it a bit more realistic, I'm going to lightly draw like a blood vein, because they're so strong. They're such strong animals, and they're very active, they run a lot. So just kind of like adding that little detail in there can help. And I know this looks a little bit too obvious, but we're going to shade it so it'll kind of like blend in well. Alright, so here I got part of the shading done. I just went in with a light shade all around. I filled all of that in first, and then if you want to, it depends on what pattern or design, like spots wise, you want on your horse. But I went through, and to define where the snout starts, I just went and shaded a bit darker here, kind of like a spirit looking horse here. So that's what I did for this one. And then because you're shading, the little white parts in the between the hair is going to be like stay bright white, and is going to look unfinished. So you're going to want to kind of like darkly shade in between those. It'll still keep the definition of the hair and like how it looks and the detail and everything. It'll just help it look fuller and like it's more a part of the overall picture. So this is it right now. For the sake of the video, I didn't do entirely so much detail, but for backgrounds, you can literally just write like a straight line here and do like some mountains or something. That would look really cute. But yeah, overall for the shading, just look at it, see what does it look like, where would there be a shadow, where would there be a shadow in this art. And so like for me, I think there would be a shadow underneath the chin, kind of like going down to the chest. And see, for the chest vein, it's not that visible anymore. It looks like it's kind of faded into it, which is what we want. And so yeah, that is basically how you draw a horse, or the easy way that I found out how to draw a horse myself, because I really wanted to find an easy way I could do it without it being so difficult to remember the shape. I just know 2 big circles, and then my brain kind of pictures the horse from there, and you're able to kind of like adjust it how you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the background now, just to give an example. So if you want to, I didn't put much detail, but just like drawing a line next to it, and then like a mountainscape or something with the sun, really just makes the picture look more complete. So yeah, that's basically how you draw a horse. You can go ahead and shade in the whole background too, make it look good. This was the original reference picture for the thumbnail, and that's just how I drew an Andalusian horse. I was trying to draw an Andalusian horse, and that's just what I imagine they look like, or from what I've seen. Their noses are a bit more like curved down, I feel like, but yeah, it's just every horse you draw is going to turn out different, and that's a good thing, because there's different species of horses and they all look different. And so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you don't have to subscribe. I just wanted to be helpful. And so hope this helps you. I'll see you sometime in the future. Goodbye.